We don't do PPC. We tried that. We got so much fraud
Yeah.
though. We actually went to closing in two separate occasions with someone who was not the seller. Like the
Oh,
wire
wow.
was already sent with the title agent, and in both situations, I'm like, and I tell everybody, listen to your gut. It just felt weird.
Yeah.
It was asking weird questions, and in both instances, it ended up not being the seller.
And you
But
got your money back?
yeah, we didn't
Okay.
actually close. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
so, never
As long
give
as it
money to the
wasn't like his
seller.
title company, it was his bank account.
Listen, exactly. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. He's like, oh, I'm on vacation. Send it to this address, not this other address.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, mm-mm.
If you're a real estate agent earning $200,000 a year and you want to grow your passive income, this show is for you. Learn secrets other agents use and hear from experts in our field who will guide you on your journey to investing in assets like apartment communities so you can take your commissions and turn them into cash flow. Here's your host, Randall. Let's dive in.
All right. Today's guest is Jantzen Young. I love this conversation because we talk about land and we talk about notes and then how real estate is allowing her and her family to fulfill their lifestyle design. And I love that we got into that. So we talk about how they're buying land in general at the very beginning of the conversation. And then her part of the business is actually being the creative note, the note creator in a creative way, if that makes sense. And so again, if you're looking at land as an investment or you're looking at notes as an investment, we even talk about funds because they're setting up a fund, their return profile and the structure that she's creating for her investors. It's all packed into this episode. Ton of information, the way she's structured her business, tools and tactics. We get into the nitty gritty and it's an awesome conversation. She's in the Florida area. She lives in Florida and they're investing in what she calls a smile. So it's like most of the Sun Belt all the way around the bottom half of the country, buying land virtually, creating notes, and again, how she does it and what they're using, some of the tools that they're using. We get into that. So take out your notepad. Literally, you can take a handful of notes here and have a playbook on how to go out and start doing this type of business. This is going to give you a lot of value. I hope you can go on, rate and review, give us a nice little 1 or 2 word response about how the show is doing, performing. And without further ado, let's jump in and talk to Jantzen. Here we go. Well, hey, Jantzen, it's good to have you on. I appreciate you taking the time to jump on and share your information with us today. Why don't you just go ahead and start off? We're talking land, I assume,
Yeah.
most of the day. We're going to
Yes.
take some notes and that sort of thing. So give us the 30,000 foot view of what you're doing right now so that we can start the conversation there.
Cool. Awesome. So these days I am spending my time flipping vacant land with my husband. We're a very small shop. It's just he and I and one other partner. We love to buy land in what I call the American smile. So Carolinas down to Florida, across to Texas, up to California, all the nice, sunny, happy places where
Yeah.
people are moving and land is moving. So yeah, we have a very basic, simple business, rinse and repeat. We find land under market value. We buy land for about 30 to 40% of the market value, and then we turn around and sell that land for between 80 and 90% of market value. We don't like to sit on our lots very long. That's why we offer a discount. So not only do we offer it under market value, but I really love to turn around and sell that land on terms and collect paper. So I tell everyone my husband is the landman and I'm the paper lady.
Uh-huh.
So we work out well.
Awesome. Okay. So let's break that down then. So
Yeah.
how, one, are you buying it so deep?
Yeah.
Like, why doesn't the seller just go ahead and sell it 10% discount to the market? So hit me with it.
Good question. So we do a shotgun approach. We don't sharpshoot. So we'll go into a market. We don't look for divorces. We don't look for tax liens. We don't look for any of that. If you own land, you're getting a letter from us if you're in the area we want to buy. So we do spend quite a bit of money to get in front of a lot of people. We're not looking for people who are super tapped into the market. We are not looking for people who have their property listed and they want top dollar. We're just not the right buyer. We are looking for the yard sale people. When you go to a yard sale, your china is worth something. I know your china is worth something, but you don't care. It is more important for you that china is gone and just out of your life than it is to sit right around for it. And even in my offers, I'm very upfront in saying we are investors. We are buying under market value. And our expertise, what we bring to the table is we solve problems. So if you don't have a problem, we're really not the right people to work with. You can do much better with an agent on the market. But yeah, if you're just tired of paying taxes, you live out of state, you just are tired of arguing about who's going to pay the taxes this year over Thanksgiving dinner, I'm your girl. I can help you out.
Putting a note here, just get the China gone.
Yeah,
It's like,
get the China gone.
yeah, I like that. I haven't heard the garage sale sellers. That's funny. Okay, you said something there, shotgun approach to marketing. So what are you doing for marketing? What's driving your leads right now?
Yeah. So how are we marketing? Is that your
Yeah.
question?
How are you marketing? And then what are your lead funnels? What are your
Criteria.
sources? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I want to go to markets where we're seeing populations growing. If the population is growing, people are moving there. And that means people are getting tired of being cramped up. And some of them want to move a little bit outside of town and I get some space. So that's where we see land really popping off. And then, of course, once we identify where markets are growing, so let me break it down pretty simply. We'll go to someplace very simple, like ruralpopulationreview.com. So right off the top of your head, you can see where our population is growing in larger metropolitan areas in the US. We'll take that, we'll zone in on this particular state. For example, I live here in Florida, so I'd zone in on Florida and then see, oh, we've got 5 markets that are just going out of control. Spoiler alert, everywhere in Florida is out of control, but we'll focus on these top 5 markets, right? Once we zone in on one, rather than Orlando, for example, rather than just focus on Orlando, what we like to do is go outside of Orange County and we'll touch all the counties surrounding Orlando. You can do very well buying what we call infill lots. So little lots right in the city center. You can make a killing on that, but it's hyper competitive. So we like to go to the suburbs around those metropolitan areas and buy up land where it's still relatively reasonable. And you've got people who are outside of the state who might not be quite as tapped into what's going on and are like, listen, I've had it 20 years, just freaking take it.
Yeah.
That's really how we like to find land where we're going to go for our shotgun approach.
Okay. So where are you getting your list? Is this straight county data?
Yeah, county data. We use PropWire.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going to drill in because I like knowing.
Love it. Come in. Let's do
PropWire,
this.
is that what you called it?
Yeah, PropWire, PROP wire.
Wire. Okay. And that's just for lists. Is that kind of like list source or like Melissa data?
Yeah,
type thing?
exactly. It's like, yeah, it's all the same. I like PropWire just because it's free and the filters are really helpful.
Okay. Yeah. What I found, and maybe a tool that could solve this, when I'm looking for land, one of the things that I'm always wanting to filter down by is frontage. And so not all do you have any tips or advice on that? It's just like,
no, that's one of those challenges that we have. So one of the things that we do, we don't filter by size.
okay.
We used to, we don't do that anymore. Now we filter by the land value. So filtering by the land value will solve a lot of those problems. So you can make a lot of money focusing on tiny baby lots, these little $5,000, $7,000 lots. You can buy yourself, hold it for a while, take whatever time you need for marketing. We have chosen to focus on 80,000 and up just because it's the same amount of effort. Just go for the higher dollars. But
Yeah.
and I know you're probably talking with house people who are like, $80,000 property, my God. But if you can flip it in 30 days with very little work, it's worth it to me.
For sure. So 80,000 with typical land mass. How big are you buying?
It varies. In the market that we're in, so for example, right outside of Orlando, we're looking for 1 to 5 acres.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not large.
So on a 5 acre, are you doing anything to it? Are you guys putting
Absolutely
fences? Nothing. So you get the deed, never see it, take an aerial from Google Earth and sell it.
That's
Okay.
it.
All right. We're going to go through the whole process then. All right.
And that was really one of the reasons why I got into land when I was first looking to raise capital. I wanted passive income. I just wanted multifamilies because I thought that was the only way to have passive income. But at the time, both my husband and I were corporate. I'm never going to be the first person to pick up the phone. I'm never going to be the first person to go visit a property. So to me, Google Earth, we're best friends.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's why I like land too.
I love it.
Okay, hang on. Let me go back. There are a few things.
Yeah.
I'm taking a bunch of notes in here. So you don't filter by size. You filter by land value.
Yeah.
You're going through. So you got PropWire. And so what are you doing? Are you sending out postcards? Are you sending out, is it direct mail? Is it phone calls? What are you doing?
Good question. So when we started this business, everything was direct mail letters, black and white, very boring stuff. And it's gotten a little bit more competitive in the marketplace. So we've had to catch up. We are now doing 100% text message marketing.
Oh, okay.
And then to manage to offset that, we get our list from PropWire. We run it through Skip Trace Butler, tons of Skip Trace services. I'm pretty ambivalent. This one just happens to work really well with my CRM. Run it through Skip Trace Butler to get the messages. Then we blast out the text messages right through our CRM. Now the challenge is managing all those messages coming back. So we use a service called CloseBot. really cool that I don't know how old he is, the guy who runs this thing, but he looks like a kid to me, but he's
Yeah.
spectacular.
Yeah. Is Closebot the CRM or it's an add-on?
No, we use REI Reply as our
Okay.
CRM. It's $50 a month. Closebot is, I want to say $60 a month as well.
Okay.
It might be 40, but don't hold me to that. But Closebot is just a chatbot. So it runs off of ChatGPT 4.
Okay.
I know ChatGPT 4.0 just came out and I am obsessed, but we don't use voice right now. So it runs off of ChatGPT 4, but you configure it. You give it a name, you give it a personality. It knows the real estate business already. So we just had to configure it for how our business runs.
Okay.
So her name is Claire. If you get a
Nice.
text message from us, Claire is my girl. But yeah, she will hold those conversations with the text messages coming back in. So there is absolutely no lag. I'm not paying hundreds of dollars a month for VAs. It's just my $60 Claire, and she
That's
has
awesome.
no limit to the number of people she can service. I love her.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So is that integrated into REI Reply?
It is, yes.
Okay. Is it on your
So,
website? So like you have a
um,
little chat bot down there that is Claire, or it's
good
just
question.
completely unrelated?
Nope, it's all through the chat. So
Okay.
REI Reply is just a white label version of Go High Level.
Yeah.
So Closebot will integrate with Go High Level. And that way, as the conversation is progressing with Claire, we're hitting certain goals. So we have 13 goals in our conversation. We want to make sure that the name is right. This is the best phone number for her or him, whoever we're talking with. We used to want to know what's your motivation for selling, but in our research, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If we're having a conversation, I don't really care why. Let's
Yeah.
just get to what are you looking for? One of the little tweaks that we have asked Claire to do is we were going back and forth with whether or not we wanted to know how much they wanted for their property. Because our offers are so low, it wasn't really beneficial for us to get that information. So what we've done now is we'll ask if you're interested in letting it go. Did you already have a number in mind? If they give us a number that is above market value, only then will Claire disclose, hey, we typically pick up properties in this area between X and Y. Is there something that makes your property special that we should consider before we give you an offer? So then, number one, they get an idea that, oh, we're going to be a little bit lower. And number two, it gets them thinking, you've got to pitch me on your land now. Now, if you're living in New Jersey, you've never seen the property, you have no idea what's going on here, they're automatically backing up themselves and saying, oh, yeah, no, I don't know anything about it. So
Yeah.
whatever, just send me an offer. That is the perfect primer for us. And it's really helped convert a lot more of our leads.
Yeah. That's awesome. How does Claire know their value?
In the upload from PropWire, that's some of the information that we give. That's one of the data points.
Okay. So you're uploading the data from PropWire. So that's their county assessed value. Yeah.
Yeah. PropWire will take the county assessed value, but then they also, with some algorithm, again, going off of base information, they do offer the estimated market value as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. I love this setup. This is so I talk to my
Yay.
wife a lot, as I should, but I talked to her about,
Yeah.
hey, how do you want your life designed? And I've always had this thing. I read the 4-Hour Work Week years and years ago. And it's like,
Yes.
how do you want your life to look? And lifestyle design is a big thing. And this setup and this structure where you have this sort of hands-off sort of investment, you have a very small team, and yet you're utilizing technology that's coming out as it's coming out is phenomenal. We use Go High Level for all of our stuff as well, but I haven't
Yes.
integrated that. So that's interesting. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah. And Closebot, we found Closebot because of real estate, but I've also started using it for my coaching program as well, because
Okay.
people have a lot of questions and I'm
Yeah.
saying the same thing over and over again. I start to sound less empathetic the more I repeat myself.
Sure.
Not because I don't care. It's just we have a human capacity. It wears out. Closebot can maintain that level of empathy for much longer than I can and give my clients a better experience. So that's another reason why I really like her.
Yeah. So even though Closebot was real estate based, you're now using it and it can pick up on the tone and conversation of a different type of real. So it's not real estate specific.
It's not real estate specific. We found it from a real estate ad, but when you go to Closebot, I think the largest number of their clients are actually in the fitness industry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's not specific.
So it's just AI bot that's helping you close deals. Yeah, that's awesome.
Sorry, really
No,
fast.
this is fantastic because again, the more actual tools and things that somebody has at their disposal that they can share with the listeners, the better it is. We are for me personally, I get to scratch my own itch on the show. And so if I find a tool that is going to be helpful for me, like it's huge. And
Exactly.
so same with anybody that's looking to invest or buy land or get into it and they don't have every little thing. They're like, oh, that was good info, but I still don't know where to start. So anyway,
Yeah.
let's go back. You have a coaching program. So I assume you get the question a lot, like, where should I start? If somebody is a real estate agent, professional, and they're in San Antonio, like me, and they're like,
Mhm.
hey, I really want to buy something. I'm going to throw some money at some land. What should I do?
Okay, good question. So I'm going to start this with a caveat and say I do not teach people how to buy land, flip land, or do any of that. That's my business. We learned from a phenomenal person called Jack Bosch and his wife, Michelle Bosch. They are wonderful people, and they have an excellent coaching program that I recommend 1,000%. And you can find out more about them at flippingwithout.rehab.com if that's what you're into. My coaching program is based on my lifestyle, just like your wife, right? We
Okay.
love land flipping because it's interesting, but it is repetitive,
Yeah.
which is why we've introduced a lot of technology. My world is in the creative finance side and in the note space. And that's what I teach people, specifically notes on vacant land, because it's a little bit different,
Yeah.
your criteria, but that's what I really focus on. So if you're interested in starting with land, flipping without rehab, go talk to Jack and Michelle. They're amazing.
Awesome. All right. Good plug. But let's talk about the
Don't mind
notes then.
me.
The creative. Yeah. Jack, maybe someday we'll talk. But yeah, right now I got Jantzen. Let's talk. So notes on land. I have in recent episodes been covering a lot about notes because, well, like I told you a minute ago, we are doing the crowdfund where we're raising money and deploying it into the single family, and then we're creating the notes.
Yeah.
However, land's a little bit different. So break it down. What your strategy is, I guess, on the note creation side.
Good. Excellent. So every time we talk with a person who is interested in investing in notes, I go through what I call the BRATS model, right? So what's your budget? What rate of return are you looking for? What kind of assets are you used to investing in already so that we can make some good comparisons? Your term or your timeline, how long do you want to stay invested, or do you have something in particular you're saving for or investing for? And then your state, specifically with notes, because the legislation changes so much from state to state. Some people are very specific. Hey, I only want non-judicial states versus I don't come to me with judicial, or I only want to invest in my backyard in Florida. That's cool. So those are the 5 questions I ask anybody who's having that conversation. And some of the biggest things as a part of that conversation is when you think about your budget, people immediately go to what's in their bank account. I'm like, you have a retirement account. And if you don't, you should.
Mm-hmm.
Whole life insurance policies, take that cash value. You've got that available to you as well. So just want to make sure that people are aware that the stock market is not the only option. And let's talk about what your world could look like if we could take your investments from earning, say, 7 to 8% per year to 10 to 12% per year. How much faster do you get to your goals? And what does their quality of life look like in retirement if we could maintain that?
Okay. So then that means that the land that you're acquiring, you are using other people's money to acquire. Is that what I understand? Or are you paying cash and then creating a note that somebody is basically buying that note and you're taking a spread?
Good question. So in my personal business and the plot squad with my husband, we're picking up that land at 30% of market value, selling it for 80%. So typically the down payment is enough to mostly cover the down payment. So if we are coming up with any capital, it's small. It's a very small amount. So we're just selling it and creating cash flow right away. When I am looking to purchase other people's notes, I have to have a specific return of investment of my money. And my rate of return is going to be different from everyone else's. And if you're thinking about, okay, I want to invest, but what should I be investing in? And how much should I invest in? What kind of return should I need? I would look at what your options are right now, right? So if you've only ever invested in a CD at your bank, guess what? Your required rate of return is better than 5% because that's the only other option. If you've only ever been in the stock market, okay, your rate of return is somewhere between 8 and 10% because that's your only option. If you're willing to invest time and money and energy into learning real estate, your rate of return can be much higher. So I don't like to give a number. It's what's right for you and your level of comfort right now.
For
Does
sure.
that help?
Yes. But at the same time, I'm curious how you're structuring the deals. Are you setting up a contract? Hey, I have 1, 2, 3 Main Rural Street, whatever. It's not Main Street, 1, 2, 3 Rural Street, right? And you put it under contract for $40,000
Yes.
and then you go and sell it for 80. Are you getting that 40 grand from the buyer as a down payment? That's what you were alluding to a second ago,
I
right?
would love to, right? So if I don't get 40, I usually just go for 20% down. So if I don't get the full 40% down, let's say that I'm only able to get $20,000 down payment, that's totally fine. I have to bring $20,000 to the table to close that deal and then create that note. Now, in my business, sometimes that makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't make sense for me to put my own money into that deal, what I'll do is one of two things. Either one, I will borrow the money from someone else, use someone else's money to cover that little bit. But what I really like to do is sell part of my note. So let's say that $60,000 that I've just generated, they gave me $20,000 down, and I've got a note now for $60,000. And let's say that note is going to be paid out over the next 10 years. Rather than selling that entire note for there's a $60,000 value, maybe I can sell it for $55,000 for the whole thing and just get it off my plate the whole 10 years. Rather than doing that, I could say, listen, I only need $20,000.
Yep.
So would it be cool if instead of 10 years, I sell you a third of it, like 3.5 years? Is that cool? And so that person only has to invest $20,000 of their own money, and they're only locked into this deal, into this marriage, I would say, for 3.5 years. So they've got a much lower price point, they've got much lower risk, and they can still share in double-digit returns that I have. And it's a great partnership that way.
So when you sell the partial, are you selling that $20,000 at 5 years or 3 years,
Mhm.
and they're taking 100% of the cash flows until
Yeah.
they're paid off? Or are you structuring it in a way to where you're participating basically pari passu for whatever you have, your note value that's left?
Yeah. And I have done it both ways. I actually prefer to go ahead and sell the note, the full partial, and let them have the full money up front. For the accountant, remember, we are a small business and mama likes her free time and I like to sleep. So it is more profitable to stay in that deal and start collecting your cash flow day one because of compounding
Yep.
principles. But for my peace of mind, no, this is your problem for the next 3.5 years. I'll have a notification with the loan servicer. So it's automatically recorded and everything. As soon as your time is up, the payments immediately shift over to me. And that just helps me sleep at night and keep everything nice and clean.
Yeah. Okay. Again, I love creating notes. I love looking at the calculators and seeing how much return you can get on these things. So we can geek out on that in a second. But who are you using for your loan servicer? Is it different for different states, or do you have one national that's using for everything?
I do prefer Madison. Their prices have gone up. So Madison,
Okay.
if you're listening, help a girl out. Yeah. So it was, we always escrow taxes and the POA or HOA if they have one. In the beginning, I didn't do that because I was trying to be cheap and save a little bit on the loan servicing. And 3 years later, a couple of my loans were like, yeah, they've never missed a payment with me and also have never paid their taxes. So we just pay for servicing for everything now.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that
think
makes
they're
sense.
up to $40 a month.
Do you pass that on to the borrower? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's one of those things. And then I know because they're not owner occupied, you don't have to use an RMLO to get the
We do not.
loans done. It's really like a business type loan. So they
Yeah.
don't pay, they don't stay. All right. Try to explain to a layperson what a partial is in a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
Because there really are two different ways. Everybody can participate. Again, you've got a $20,000 person on a $60,000 note. You have a $20,000, so you have $40,000 that you could be collecting payments on. But you're saying,
Yeah.
I'm going to compress all $20,000 down into a short period of time, pay them off, and then
Yes.
I'm gonna see my upside on the backside. In
Yes.
year 3 on, or they're going to refinance and all of us are going to get paid out, or they're going to pay off the note, and then you'll still have your loan. So what happens to your first lien? Are you subordinated to the sale of the partial? Try to break it down so that
Okay. I'm like, wait, what just happened? No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So once I sell that partial note, so for the first 3.5 years, I am no longer the owner of that note. I'm not subordinated. I'm not carrying second position. I don't own the note, period. So 100% of that note, 100% of the questions, calls, responsibilities fall to that person who owns the note for the first 3.5 years. At the end of that term, and then if you go online and to the county assessor, you'll see, or the clerk rather, you'll see that Susan Smith is the owner of that mortgage. At a certain time period or at a certain unpaid balance amount, because people can pay early or refinance, whatever the case is, we will automatically record another assignment of a mortgage that will take Susie off and put Jantzen back on. So I'm not subordinated. I'm just not involved, period, until that time or that unpaid balance is reached.
So how do you secure your position in that deal?
Good question. So that's on the original mortgage. So we do have 2 extra clauses that we add to our mortgage that specifically says until this date or until the unpaid balance reaches this amount, it'll stay in effect. After that point, it automatically is moved over to, and then it has my company name and my address.
Mhm.
So I am listed on the original mortgage, not as another mortgagee, but as letting the world know at a certain point, you're going to have to call Jantzen, no longer calling Sue.
Interesting. So that's on the note, not the deed of trust. So
No, that's what's recorded on the mortgage.
oh, it is. It is. Okay. All right.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
So let's talk about the promissory note since you
Yeah.
brought that
Yeah.
up.
Let's do it.
By the way, if that's not really clear to people, the difference between a promissory note and a mortgage, or the difference between a mortgage or promissory note and a deed of trust, the promissory note is all the nitty gritty details that people might forget, like the interest rate, the term, what the late fees are, the maturity date, things like that. The mortgage or the deed of trust is just the glue that says, if you don't honor this document, I'm going to take something. And that something happens to be a piece of property, right? So that's the difference between the two. This document is private. This document is public and available to the world. So none of the terms are public for people to see. All they know is, who do I need to call if you sell? Just make sure that you honor this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Good clarification.
Okay, cool. So with that said, if that person goes to sell the property, I need them to know that I have some interest in it. And that's why we put it on the mortgage or deed of trust. So it's public knowledge.
Yeah.
Now, how much they paid for it or all that, it's irrelevant, but they need to call me if they want to sell.
Yeah. Interesting. So then how, if they go to a random title company, are they going to reach you if your name is on there? Like how
It's my name and
it has everything? Yeah.
it's my company name and my address, the same as the original mortgagee.
Okay. Interesting. I just assumed, this is my misunderstanding with the selling a partial. I assumed you would still be like number one, and then you'd have somebody just collecting part of those payments until they were paid in full. And then that just fell off, almost like a second.
I see why you would think that. And there is a way to do that, but that's not considered a partial note sale. So a partial note sale, you own the whole thing for a specific period of time and it's recorded as such.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing something, and I would call this more asset management, where I own the note, I'm going to rehypothecate it.
Yeah.
It's just a fancy word that means I'm getting a loan that's going to be secured by another loan. So I'm going to borrow $20,000 from you, and your security is this $60,000 note that I own. I'm not giving you any part of my $60,000 note. I'm just promising I will pay you money. You don't really care where the money comes from, because whether this person pays me or not, I am responsible to pay you your $20,000 back, not my borrower. So in that case, if we're rehypothecating, I'm staying on the note. I'm all in. The security that you have is an assignment of collateral. Please don't record the assignment of collateral, because once you record it, you have just assigned my mortgage over to you and now I'm out. So yeah, rehypothecation is a little bit different. And I do that all the time.
Yeah. So you prefer being out of it for 3 years and then being brought back into it, just so you don't have the headache of managing.
It's nice and clean.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When you rehypothecate, do you still collect part of the payments though? Since you're getting everything from the borrower, all $60,000 worth of interest, you would be collecting the fat off the top and then just paying on. Yeah.
So that's closer to asset management. I can do that. I prefer to get my lenders paid out as quickly as possible. So I will overpay them. I'll pay them my portion as well, just to get them out quicker. So I can just own the whole thing.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
And it depends on where you are in your business. There was a point where I needed that cash flow to keep everything going. Mm-hmm. At the moment, we're all right. I would say, and I say at the moment, knock on wood, because this is real estate, right? It's a good month. We'll see how we are next month.
Nice. So I guess break that down then. So how many notes are you creating? What are you guys trying to do? Where do you see it going in the next year? What are you working on?
So this year, this is the first time we have also dipped into the fund world. So we have a $5 million fund that we have, and we're going to keep it right there for the foreseeable future. Personally, in my personal business, we're only at about $400,000 a year. So we're happy with that. I've got some big plans in 3 years. So that's what's going to get me there. And I'm happy with that too.
What are those plants? Like,
Yes.
wait a second.
This is
Don't gloss
going to
over that.
go way into left field. It has nothing to do
That's
with
okay.
anything, but
It's part of the reason to get into real estate. So you can
it
go into left
is.
field and do whatever the heck you want to do.
I love traveling, but I really hate TSA and packing and like the act of getting ready to travel. I like being places. So there is a cruise ship out there called the Storylines at Sea. It sets sail in 3 years when my daughter will be in middle school. And we're just going to buy a cabin on the boat. For the one that we want is $5.4 million. So we're looking to buy that cabin, and it takes 3 years to circumnavigate the globe. And that's how my kids are going to get schooled.
Do you own the cabin?
For the life of the vessel, yes.
And you can go on this ship anytime you want.
The idea is that you live there.
Yeah.
And the whole idea, they call it a shared yacht experience. So you live on the boat and your backyard changes every week.
That's amazing. What is this called again?
Yeah. Storylines at Sea. There's another
Storylines.
cruise ship that did it in the 90s called the World, but it's a very different price point and the community is a little older. So the Storylines at Sea, $5 million it's not ridiculous, right? There's $5 million houses.
Yeah.
So they're really catering more to working families. So they have a contract with Starlink, so we'll be able to still flip land from the boat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited for two things in particular. One is the World School. So are you familiar with the concept?
No.
Have children?
Yeah, I do.
How old are they?
That's 6 and 3.
Oh, mine are 7 and 9. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
almost out of preschool. It's glorious when they're out of preschool.
Yes.
So
She's one more year. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, I celebrate all the way to the bank.
We're coming to your
So
neck of the woods tomorrow. We're actually going to Disney World tomorrow. Yeah.
yeah, it's the perfect time. Summer's
Yeah.
perfect.
She's all into princesses and all that still. But
Uh,
no, I have not heard of this. What did you say? World
Yeah.
School?
World schooling. So
Okay.
it's similar to a virtual school where most of your classes are online or whatever, but twice a week we have pods. So because of the boat is small, there's only 550 families that'll be there. So all of the elementary school kids, you go to your pod twice a week, and your pod is really for not instruction, it's project based. So we're working on something. And because of the people who are running this boat and the people who are living on this boat, it's all business oriented. So the
Okay.
goal is so that your kids graduate high school with a functional passive income business. And then once a week, the instructor will schedule excursions. So whatever port we are in, that is the excursion that you take that week. And because it is a world school, you don't learn about the Roman Empire until you're standing in the Colosseum.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's what I'm really excited about for the children. And then for me, it's the community. So it would be so great. I love going to conferences because I feel like a couple times a year I get to meet my tribe and we just stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning talking about real estate, investing, and all these cool things. And it's like, how great to be like, if my son's, yeah, I'm really into coding and I want to learn how to do that. Oh, great. We'll talk to Bob on deck 7, who started in his garage, grew a company, figured out how to sell it, and is now living on a boat full time. Like, those are my neighbors.
Yeah, I just Googled it because I was still like, how is this? So what I didn't understand from the outset was you pay and you have a condo essentially.
Yeah, it's a condo.
That is your house. It's not I thought it was a ticket for 1 year around the globe type setup.
Oh, that's an expensive ticket.
I was like, yeah, look at this.
No, it's my home. Yeah.
Okay. So then you do this for the foreseeable future. Like it is
I'm definitely going to do it through the middle school years. So we'll take one trip around the world and then I'll let my daughter decide if she wants like a traditional high school experience. If she's cool with it, we'll stay. I would love to.
Yeah.
And then especially thinking about college, and we're conditioned for college here in the US, but you can go to college for free in some European countries. I just want her to feel comfortable so she knows all of her options. And maybe college isn't even her thing. If you want to go right into business, I'm down for that too, but you're going to have a plan.
Yeah. That's incredible. Yeah. Appreciate you sharing that. You're like going to gloss over that. Don't gloss over that.
That's the part that like lights me up. It's why we're doing all of this stuff.
Yeah, that's very cool. I don't even know where we're going now. You were talking about you're
I think we were
doing some
talking
notes.
about notes, but
Yeah. Oh, you were saying you're at 400,000. Is that passive income or is that I'm flipping that's some trades and some note cash flow?
that's both. So that's flipping the properties and then converting that. So my husband and I, we started this 6 years ago. About that time, we both had full-time jobs. So we decided half of what we make, we are reinvesting. And then we bumped that up. We live a pretty modest life. So now we're at 75%. So 3 properties that we sell, we just reinvest and we hold the paper. We'll sell the property. If we get cash, we'll go out and we'll buy another multifamily, or we'll buy more paper or whatever. And then only 25% of what we sell, we will actually spend and keep with the families.
I heard Shaq talk at MF and Con the other year, and I had it backwards. I started saving 10% or only living on 10% and investing the rest. He has a ridiculous income, and it's very possible.
Well, yeah.
But you could do that. So yeah, it's one of those things. I keep hearing things. So you're investing in multifamily?
Okay. Yes. So but we're small, right? So we like our little quadplexes and triplexes, and we invest in our own backyard here. But just this year, we have started we are more open now to letting other people handle it. So this is the first year that we've even entertained a syndication, and I like it. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, so you are investing as an LP?
As an LP. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Not a GP.
Yeah.
I know my lane.
Yeah.
That's not me.
I was like, it's not dirt. What are you talking? What do you
No.
It's not a note.
It's too many moving parts. I'll let someone else manage it.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. It's hands off, tax benefits, all the things.
Exactly.
Okay. And then
I don't even want to talk about like my small little ones. It's literally like the realtors I know around here from the RIAs that I'm a part of.
Yeah.
By the way, I know real estate agents have meetups, but please join a RIA. Like, we don't bite. Come hang out with us.
Sure. Not only can you get business from it, you can learn how to make more money if you're actually being on the investor side of it. Okay, so you have a $5 million fund. Tell me, what kind of fund is it? Is it 506C? Is it 506B? Is it a crowd fund? Reg A? What do you have?
It's a 506C. We started out as a B fund. And so if anyone else is interested in starting a fund, please talk to me so I can tell you what not to do. I've done it all. So I started off thinking, all the people that have invested with me before, I've raised $6 million just last year. So I'm like, it's no problem. It's a very different person that's, here's my personal $50,000 for a specific flip. I want the mortgage for this property. It's very different when you're like, oh no, give me $50,000 and I'll find something to invest in later. A pool. It's very different.
Yeah.
So my audience was not the right people. So now we're working with a third-party company, and I'll drop them too. It's called Marquee Marketers. They're actually out of India, but all they do is market like all freaking day long. And they have a list of accredited investors that are primed and ready to invest in funds. And so with them, rather than going through Facebook marketing, which is what we were doing meta marketing and then making lookalike audiences for LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Rather than doing that work and paying for the potential for leads, we go to these people who already have the leads sitting there and are waiting for the right investment. So they do direct email marketing instead. So we get a warm introduction to their people. We pay them, it's a ridiculously low one-time fee, and then we can market unlimited to their list. So that's our strategy going into the summer. And when I get back from vacation in August, we're ready to move forward. I've got 2 other partners who are great to keep everything running while I'm out with the family. But we're a debt fund, 506C, just like you, just cash flow, no upside, slow and steady money. That's what we offer.
So what does it look like? Break it down. I give you $1. How much money am I getting back?
Yeah. So we've got 3 tiers. First, there's fees that we always have to talk about. So 1.5% goes to fees, but that's the only fee that you ever pay on the acquisition. After that, it is a promissory note. So all of the fees from the fund, marketing, all of that's on us. If we don't make money, that's our problem, not yours. There are 3 levels. So you can invest, it's a $50,000 minimum. You can invest for 2 years for 9%, 3 years for 10%. Or if you are willing to invest $100,000, it's 11% paid quarterly. And then at the end of your term, it's up to you. We just need a 90-day notice whether you're going to stay in or reinvest. You'll get your money back at that point.
So are you guys rolling do you have a DRIPS, direct reinvestment program? Do you have anything like that going on?
We do not. So the cash flow that you create will show up in your account and you can instruct us to wire it out. Otherwise, it'll just stay sitting there. Once you accumulate $10,000, then you can do another reinvestment.
Got it. Yeah. That makes it to where it's easier on your accounting side.
Yeah,
it's an interesting setup. Very similar to what we're doing. We tiered it based on the investment amount, and doing a crowd fund, we could market to anybody, do anything. And minimum, you can have a much smaller minimum just because you can have it unlimited. With 506Cs, you're limited to the number but it's still super high. But your
Yeah.
numbers have to be a little bit higher because, So let me ask you then, Marquis, I know we're getting to the top of the hour, but I'm curious. You're paying these guys. So you pay them one time, they give
Mhm.
you an entire list. That's your list. And you're marketing to them, or they are doing the marketing for you?
No, they do all of the marketing. So they'll drip out the emails daily. I think Google has a maximum of 500 emails before you get put in Gmail jail. So we've got 6 email accounts going with all of the emails going out. And then it's the same thing. So once I figured out CloseBot for my land business, guess
Yeah.
what we did for this one?
Yeah.
So as those email replies are coming in, they're being communicated with, but the point is schedule a call. That's the call to action all the time.
Yeah.
So until you schedule a call, I'm really not. I love you. Please take you and invest, but schedule a
There's
call.
only so much we can do in a day. All right. So again, breakdown. Have you had results from that? Is it already, did you just start and you're like, we're going to see results maybe in 4 months, or
Yep.
how long
Good
did it take you to
question.
start?
So we just started with them 3 weeks ago, and
Okay.
our first mailing is scheduled to go out on Monday. And the reason why we waited that 3 weeks is as a part of their process, they looked at all of our marketing materials and redid everything for us.
Yeah.
Rebranded our website, shot some new video, webinars, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
So they really helped with all of that process. And what's really cool is that because this is all they do, they were really helpful in saying, okay, based on what your offering is, I think you're going to work really well with this segment of people. And that's who I think we should go after. Or we really haven't had success with this strategy, so we're encourage you to try this one. So it really helped us set our expectations, and their guarantee is first funds in 4 weeks, which is pretty nice from a totally cold list for us.
Yeah. Nice. Interesting. I'll have to look them up.
Yeah. I hope this has been helpful.
For sure. For me, yeah. Listeners out there, yeah, I hope you're getting something out. Take your notepad out, create some notes on your notepad.
Yeah.
And with money. So I've really enjoyed our conversation. Thanks so much for coming
Great.
on. And
Yeah.
I mean, you taught me some things, and I love catching up with people, just learning more every time I have these conversations. So
Yeah.
your wealth of knowledge, you came from the background, right, of being in financial planning. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I worked with a broker dealer. So I trained financial advisors how to grow their business with a technology. So I had my love for technology, my love for training. Listen, I loved doing all those things. I just wasn't making any money. So I had to switch industries and went to real estate. But then once I got real estate under my belt, I'm like, my spark is that aha moment. That is my drug. Like you telling me right now, I learned something new. I'm like, you just lit me up for the rest of the day. Thank
Nice.
you. So I missed that in real estate. And that's why I fell into coaching. Yes, I have to charge because my time is valuable, but I just freaking love that. And I love that I'm in an industry that allows me to do what I love every day.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm loving the storylines deal too. So enjoy that. And yeah, we'll have
I want
to
to
catch
see you
up
on the
soon.
ship. There's still some families who need to
Yeah.
come on with young kids too. My kids need friends.
Yeah, we're struggling to take a cruise, just a 1 week cruise. We're like, should we do it or not? So we're that kind of
Yes.
family.
Freaking do
Yeah.
it. Wait, you
Yeah.
still out of Galveston?
Probably, yeah, that's the closest
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been on short ones like Stockholm over to another place, but it's a day cruise,
Yeah.
and then over to the Bahamas, but never overnight, 1 month at a time or anything. So
Yeah. At least do a 7-day. Like you're in Mexico's right there. So
I know.
yeah. And I would say we're obviously Floridians, we cruise a lot, but when our kids were younger, it was the only time we got to sleep. I remember our second one was born and he was almost 1. And we're like, we have to take a cruise. And so we left and our friends were like, oh girl, you're going to get on that cruise and you and your husband are going to sleep. We are going to sleep because we have not done it for a year. We had fun too, but also naps.
I've heard the sitters are like there. Maybe this was just on the Disney cruise because we looked at the Disney cruise instead of going to Disney World, and it was booked out forever. So we were like, all right, we're just going to go. But yeah, we may do it.
Go for it. The sitters are great. And honestly, I don't know if the prices have gone up. It's been a year, but at the time, was it $10 an hour? Where the heck are you going to get a sitter, a quality sitter that's going to love on your baby for $10 an hour? Come on.
Pretty
Go
good.
for it. Enjoy dinner and take a nap.
Jantzen, it's been awesome catching up.
Again, we just need to wrap this up. This is great. All right.
I appreciate you coming on, sharing your knowledge, telling us about your business, getting deep in the weeds. It's always very helpful. Like I was telling you at the beginning, very helpful information. Thanks again for jumping on and catching up.
Thanks for having me.
If you are looking for land or you're looking to invest or you want to reach out to Jantzen, all her contact info is going to be in the show notes. So please go and there you go. Click through and talk to her. So again, thanks so much for jumping on. Catch you guys on the next episode. Did you know that 80% of the agents we speak with got into real estate in order to gain passive income so they could obtain financial freedom and become work optional? If you want to stay up to date, the best way is to make sure you're subscribed. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and do it now. We'll catch you on the next episode.